I'm very excited to share this information today. I think it's very timely. We're sitting here at the beginning of February, and I know it says building your 2025 marketing plan, but I think everything that I'm going to go through today is something that has been relevant for a long time and should be relevant for many years to come. Um, I want to start off with a quote, and it was by Benjamin Franklin, and it was, "If you fail to plan, you plan to fail." And I think that's why it's pretty important to, when you're looking at doing any kind of marketing, to make sure that you plan it first. I remember I've been doing this for 20 years now. And in the beginning, we used to just start stuff and not really have a plan. And then we'd be like, what, why isn't this working? And once we realize that, hey, you need to plan this out and really make sure that everything is going to work together and know what your goals are and all of those things, then we started to see results. And it's like, there was a piece that we were missing. So the very first thing you need to do is start with an analysis, because if you don't know where you are, it's really difficult to be able to plan for where you want to go. And we recommend starting with a SWOT analysis. That's your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This kind of a framework shows you where you can focus your marketing efforts, and things that are unique to you, and things that maybe there are gaps in both the services that you provide and maybe in patient engagement. Because if you can understand these internal and external factors, you can be more targeted and more effective with your marketing plan. And that doesn't mean that you have to just focus on you. You can focus or look at your competitors and your marketplace. Here's how we kind of lay it out, just so you can see it all in one place. List out your strengths. Strengths would be something like, do you provide a service that nobody else in your area provides? Or do you have free parking when most everybody in your area has paid parking? Or are you, on a busy street where you can put signage out? Weaknesses. Weaknesses are often the opposite of your strengths. Maybe your weakness is you're in a building that's in a professional building where you can't put signage out. Maybe you're open limited hours. Those are the types of things that you would put in there. Opportunities. These are things that you can see that maybe are not being maximized in your area. Maybe you don't have anyone in your area that's providing Invisalign, but you do. That's a big opportunity. Maybe you have the opportunity to open another day of the week, stuff like that. Threats, those are things that could sabotage your whole marketing plan. Things like the economy, employee or staffing issues, regulations by associations that change in the middle of the year, stuff like that. So pretty important to tackle this first, because if you don't, it's sort of like going on a trip. If you don't know where you are, how can you set your Google Maps GPS to get you where you want to go? So you'll end up going down a lot of wrong roads if you don't do this first. So here's what I'm going to go through today. When you create your plan, these are some of the things that you need to look at. And I think probably this is a good order to do them in. So let's just go ahead and get started with clear outcomes. So what you want to do is you want to set SMART goals. SMART standing for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. An example of that would be, increase patient bookings by 20% within 6 months. The reason it's important to do that is, number one, if it's not specific, you're going to be confused about exactly what you need to do. If it's not measurable, how do you know if you even attained it? If it's not achievable, then you're probably not going to try very hard, because right up front, there's no way we're going to make that anyway, right? And of course, it needs to be relevant and time bound. If you don't put a date on it, then it's just a, oh, I would like to do this, right? So it's pretty important to set those goals in that manner. And this really does drive each marketing tactic that you employ. It all needs to tie back to your goal. And So we look at marketing as two different things. There's tactics and there's strategy, right? So you need to work on both, but the tactics are the places where you employ um, any of the strategies that you set out to accomplish. Target audiences. It's very important to build an ideal patient persona based on the demographics and dental needs of the people that you want to attract. And some people always go, well, how do you start that? Well, think of your favorite patient, and we all know you have one. Um, and is that the type of person that you would like to have in your chair hour after hour when you're practicing? Um, you know, think about what makes them your favorite. Where do they live? How old are they? Do they have kids? What's their education level? What's their occupation? And once you figure that out, I even like to give them a name. So, for example, um, if your perfect patient is a woman age 40 who is a professional, who lives in a certain area close to where you are, maybe has teenage kids, um, then pick a name, call her Susan. And now you actually have really given them a personality. And now when you're talking to your staff about your marketing, you can always say, okay, does this target Susan? And it's actually kind of a neat way to deal with the target audience. Key message. So a key message has to convey your unique selling proposition or your USP, your mission and your vision in a way that really resonates with your patients. So you really need to do some homework before you start writing your key messages, because if you don't do that, if you just start writing stuff, you're probably going to end up with a lot of garbage that you're going to end up throwing out. So you need to analyze your audience once you understand who they are, what their needs, challenges, stuff like that, and then identify what sets you apart from somebody else that they might be considering. And once you have that, then you can start crafting those messages. Then you can also work on your creative assets. So in today's world where we are bombarded with so much stuff, you're on your social media feeds. There's just graphic after graphic. So you need to have compelling creative to grab that attention and build trust, and then drive people to take action. Um, Start by developing graphics for patient-focused content that really show your unique values. And they can be used everywhere once you've got them, right? Even like I've got a list here: social media, email, in-office promotions. You can even use those in social media advertising, display advertising. So it's important to have a bunch of assets that you can pull from, because sometimes you need something quickly. And if you've got that batch of assets there, you can grab from them. Then you need calls to action. So a call to action is a way to take the next step for your prospect that lowers their risk. And different people are at different stages in their decision-making process. So different things are desirable to different people along the way. So for example, a call to action that is for someone who is very far along in the decision-making process might be, schedule your exam today, or book an appointment, or call now for emergency dental care. But somebody who is earlier in their decision-making process might be, learn about our whitening services, click here and download this free guide on everything you need to know about teeth whitening. They should be put on your website, social media, email, even in-office signage to encourage engagement and to get people to do something. It's also important not to have too many calls to action, especially on a place like your website, because people get confused, and confused people do nothing. So try and narrow it down to a couple things that you want them to do, and then use those calls to action everywhere. Budgeting. So this is something that's kind of a sore point sometimes, and something that is really a bit confusing. And so I'm just going to give you a guideline here, and you know what? You can spend more, you can spend less, but there's a way that I would approach it. Uh, Start off with allocating around 7 to 12% of your targeted annual revenue increase. So, for example, if you're looking at growing by $100,000 in revenue, then 7 to $12,000 in budget can support achieving that goal. And it should cover all the key areas like digital ads, content creation, any software that you need to buy. And then you can adjust your budget as you start to see return on investment. For example, if you decided to go on the low end and put in $7,000, um, you might start to see some good return on investment. For every $100 you put into a certain campaign, you're getting $1,000 back. So you might want to add more money to that. So that's something that you can do after you've got started and as you start to see that return on investment. And so that kind of leads me to evaluation. This is critical. If you aren't evaluating what's going on, very, very likely you're doing something that's costing you money and not giving you any return on investment. And the beginning of that is to establish clear metrics. Like, what is it that you want to measure, and how are you going to measure it? Things like patient acquisition costs, appointment booking rates, website traffic, conversion rates on your website. I mean, you can get all kinds of traffic to your website, but if you're not getting new patients out of it, then you may want to take a look at your website and say, hey, why is this not converting? Are we attracting the wrong people to the website? And you can spend money on that for months and months and months if you're not looking at the metrics. So it's very important to regularly track and analyze all of the metrics that you have decided that you want to track to make sure that it's, number one, aligned with your goals, and number two, gives you a return on investment. So once you've put all of that together, then you need to choose the types of marketing tactics that you want to use those messages and creative on. So here's a few. Content marketing. That includes things like blog posts, videos, social media content to establish your expertise. There's social media. This is engaging in followers on platforms like Instagram and Facebook. There's email marketing, so you can nurture leads with newsletters and promotional offers. You can also educate your existing patients. I had a dentist tell me one time the worst thing that can ever happen to you is to run into an old patient that you haven't seen in a while and find out that they left your practice because they wanted to have a service that they thought you didn't provide and you did. So it's pretty important to communicate with your existing patients as well. SEO, or search engine optimization. This is improving your visibility in search engine results and driving more organic traffic. This is a little bit longer term to get traffic to your website. And then there's paid media, like sponsored search results, like Google pay-per-click and social media ads. And these are the things that can get you return on investment a little bit quicker. So how do you choose the right tactic? Well, first off, it has to align with your goals. So select tactics that directly support your SMART goals. And that's why it's so important to do that first, because if you start doing a whole bunch of other stuff, you're going to end up choosing tactics and then realize, oh, wait a minute, this doesn't really align with what we want. Effort versus ROI. Some things take a little longer, take a little bit more work, and don't have as high a return on investment. So prioritize the things with the higher return on investment. Know your audience. Focus on the strategies that your target patients would likely engage with. Don't go. One of the biggest mistakes is to speak to them as though you're just promoting yourself. What you want to do is realize what kind of things will they engage with and make sure that you put the message out that way. Then test and adapt. Don't go blowing all of your money right away in some big campaign without testing. And often you can test a message on one platform that you will find out that, oh, this actually works really good. You can take that message and use it on another platform. So it's kind of neat that if things that work in one place will often work in another, and it helps you not spend so much money and find out, oh, this doesn't work. So, and again, once you've tested it, then you can adapt, scale up, and use the stuff that's working. Um, and then use your strengths. What's your team good at? Maybe you've got somebody in your office that is just really passionate about social media. You know what? Those people will do very, very well at helping you out on the social media side of things. So you may want to lean that way first. And then over time, you're going to want to optimize. So make sure that you're tracking the things that matter. Things like conversion rates, and that's the number of users that are taking whatever desired action that you want them to on your website. Click-through rates. So if you're doing any kind of online advertising, you want to look at those click-through rates. Are you getting a good number of people clicking through on whatever ads they are? And then patient retention rate. You can drive all the new patients in you want, but if they're going out the back door, that's not good. So you want to make sure that you're getting good retention, you're getting good recall rates. If you're getting people in that they only come in once every 18 months, maybe the strategy is wrong. Maybe it's the wrong people that you're attracting. So how do you adjust and optimize? Well, the first thing is making sure you follow real-time analytics, things like Google Analytics, social media insights, email marketing dashboards. These can all help identify what's working and what needs adjustment. Focus on things like conversion rates, bounce rates, and other actionable metrics, and then compare those to your initial goals. Because if you're going in a direction that's not taking you towards your goal, now you need to adjust and come back, right? Stay patient focused. It's really important to gather feedback. You can do that through surveys. Maybe, once a year, send out a survey to your patients and find out what it is that they want to see. Um, Watch your reviews. Because you may see trends there that there are different needs and preferences that you should be looking at. A/B testing. This is critical because often you may have two ideas and you think, well, I don't know which one works. You can A/B test them. Most platforms will allow you to do that. And what that does is it allows you to put both items out there and track the performance of both of them, and you'll have a clear winner in most cases. And when you do that, you drop the one that's not working well and start to work on the one that is. And then you can A/B test again because you might have certain artwork that you think, maybe this image would be better. Change that. Don't change everything, because often when you're A/B testing, if you're just trying to see what will make a good ad better, you won't know what it is that made it better if you change everything. So change a headline, change the copy, change the call to action, or change the graphic that's on there, but don't do it all at once. And you'll often see very specific thing that will make a big difference. And then review it regularly. Set monthly or quarterly check-ins. I would say in most cases, you want to keep looking at it monthly, and then just evaluate all of the overall performance of everything, and then just make strategic adjustments as needed. It's okay if something doesn't work. Just stop doing it or fix it. So, because often sometimes people are like, oh, you know what? I feel you really campaigned to do this, whatever it is. This was your baby. If it doesn't work, don't keep doing it. So, it's okay to adjust. Here's a few common mistakes. The first one is ignoring your website. Um, I look at marketing as a wheel. So it's a wheel with a hub in the middle and spokes going out. Your website's the hub. Everything leads there. Basically, if you don't have a website, it means you don't have a business. So that's where everybody goes first. And you need to ensure your website content is optimized for search intent. And you also need to make sure that your website is converting, because if it's not, you need to fix it, because that's where most people are going to go at least once in their research. Second common mistake is overlooking competitors. Take a look at what everybody around you is doing. Study them. You might find some real gaps and opportunities in things that you can just monopolize your area. If you just see where there's gaps. Vanity metrics. These are things that are have really come up with social media, like likes or followers. Yeah, you know what? It's really nice to get a like and a follow and watch those numbers. But the real actionable metrics like lead conversions are the important ones. So make sure you don't forget about those and just follow the likes or followers. And then the last thing I want to say is a common mistake is stopping too soon. It's sort of like exercise. Marketing needs time. And if you stop too soon, or if you just keep jumping around and changing things, you're probably going to spend a whole lot of money and not get any results. Another analogy is those old water pumps. If you're my age, you remember them. Some of you may not, but you had to pump the handle on those old pumps, and often water didn't come for a long time. You'd pour a little water in to help prime it, and just keep pumping, keep pumping. And if you stopped just before the water started coming out, the water would go all the way back down into the well, and you had to do it all over again. And that's kind of like marketing. Once the water gets to the top, you can just keep pumping and it'll keep pumping out water. But if you stop, often you're going to set yourself back to the beginning. So uh, frequency is important in marketing. So just don't think instantly that something isn't working if it hasn't worked in the first few weeks. So now let me go through a case study. And I wanted to do this because this is a client that, like all of Smile Shop clients, would have got an annual plan created by their dedicated account manager. They work together with this office to map out a plan for the entire year, and we divide it into quarters, so 90-day bites that we have goals along the way. So I just wanted to show you what can happen with a office that actually does do the planning properly. So this is Kensington Dental Care in Calgary. We developed a new website that best represented their practice and brand. Our team also developed an SEO program, so they were showing up in search engine results for the key terms that they wanted to show up for. And finally, our marketing scientists took over the Google search ads account that they had and immediately performed a cleanup of the words that were being bid on. And often that's one of the keys, because sometimes you're spending money on keywords that you shouldn't be spending money on. Here's what happened. Within 1 month of the site launch, the organic search sessions increased. That's a hard thing to say. Organic search sessions increased by 167%. User engagement increased by 187%, and the landing page users increased by 158%. So you can see that even within 1 month, there was some pretty decent jumps in performance. And here's what happened after a year. Their increase in average position on organic Google search was up 23%. The organic Google search impressions in 1 year, they increased by 63,490. Their paid ad conversions increased by 300%, and their cost per conversion decreased on average by about $320. And that's pretty important, because that's money that comes directly out of your pocket. Your acquisition costs can really eat into the profit of a new patient coming in for the first time. So today was sort of like drinking from a fire hose. I shot a lot at you, but we've put together a dental industry and marketing trends guide. And if you want to scan the QR code on the screen right now, it will take you to the website where you can download that. And it goes through pretty much everything I went through with you today, and in a way that you can refer back, and it'll help guide you through creating a marketing plan for yourself. But I also know that often what happens is you get started and it's a challenge, and you end up getting stuck. So what I want to throw out at you, if you're on the webinar today, or if you're just watching the recording of this, and you feel like, "Yeah, I just don't know which way to go," give me a call, send me an email. We'll set up a time where we can spend some time with you just to look at what you've put together, and I can maybe guide you and help you out, completely complimentary. But we've been doing this a long time, and sometimes it doesn't take much to give you a hand. So thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate everybody being on here. And I hope you got some information that was helpful and that you can use to start getting return on investment from your marketing.